In this video, we are talking about whether you should be doing cardio to lose weight. Now, this is a fascinating question, and in the fitness industry, kind of the answer is swung from you must to you shouldn't, and it's very confusing. So in today's video, we're going to go through kind of some of the science, some of the benefits, and kind of try and help you decide if you should be using cardio as a weight loss tool. So we'll talk about why you should do cardio, the impact of intensity in terms of weight loss, in terms of calorie burn, this type of stuff. And then we'll talk about the best cardio for you. And if you hang around till the end, I will talk to you about the very best reason to do cardio. Now, this is the 6th video in our Fat Loss Framework series. This is the second part of the exercise, and we are gonna go through the nuts and bolts of what cardio is good for, because it's little understood and I think it's an absolutely fabulous tool. So, starting off, why should you do cardio? Now, I'm just going to throw up a little graph. For me, it's a very, very obvious argument why you should do cardio, and it has very little to do with weight loss. Cardio, for me, I think it's a health tool. The data tells me that it's a health tool, and through the course of this video, you will see why. But very basically here, you can see that people who are fitter, who have better cardiovascular health, tend to have better life expectancy. They're less likely to die at any given time. Which way the correlation and causation works is arguable in some ways. You could say healthier people tend to be fitter, but I think that becoming fitter improves your life expectancy, your life quality, and your health. So that's just the basic framing of where we're going. But does cardio help you lose weight? Now, this is an absolutely fascinating question, because everybody just assumes that, you can see it in the January Google Trends. We can see that the stuff 1st of January, everybody is doing their cardio, and I'm pretty sure they're not doing it to get fit, they're doing it to lose weight. When you go into the data, you see that. But, does cardio help you lose weight? It sounds like a ridiculous question, but I can show you studies. I'll show you a study now where they took a whole bunch of women, and they made them do, for 26 weeks, they did 0, 1, 2, or 3 hours of steady state cardio per week. So 3 hours of steady state for 26, what is that? 78 hours, is that right? 78 hours. 78 hours of cardio, and these were the results. They found no statistical significance significant difference in the fat loss results of the group that did 0, 1, 2, or 3 hours. So the people who did 78 hours of cardio, they lost the same amount. They actually lost slightly less body fat than the people who did 0. Now, you need to understand that cardio does not happen in isolation. When you take someone and you do cardio, you find that they fidget less during the rest of the day, so they expend energy less elsewhere, and they get hungry, so they often eat their food. And this is what happened in this case. So the whole idea that doing cardio equals fat loss, it does not hold true. You can see it very clearly that 70 to 80 hours of cardio is a tremendous amount of cardio to do to not see any fat loss. Now, obviously, these women had health results. They had health benefits. And if you're heavy, if you've got a high BMI, being heavy and fit is far preferable to being heavy and unfit. So they still had health benefits, they still improved their insulin sensitivity, there was still benefit to doing the cardio, but they just didn't lose any fat. I don't want to kind of take you down the aisle of thinking that it can't work for fat loss, that you can't use cardio, but you need to know what you're doing with your diet, and sometimes it can help to be more intense. So this is another study where they did an intervention. They paid them and they pushed them. They made them progressively work harder. I think they were doing 500 calories per week or per session. You see it in the graph. And basically, they did lose a bunch of weight. They lost, I think, in the really intense group, it was like 5 kilos. In the other group, it was 3 kilos. But it was a lot. It was months, 10 months of exercise, tons and tons of exercise. But you see that it did help. And we see this a little bit, that intensity matters in terms of hunger blunting. So the more intense the cardio, sometimes the less high the hunger trigger is. Next up, one thing that's important if you're interested in fitness is to think about what you're using cardio for, because cardio and strength are not happy bedfellows when it comes to performance. If you have a really, really kind of heavy strength goal, you really want to be strong, you're going to do most of your work with strength, and then no one's pure strength. Like marathon runners still do a bit of strength training, and powerlifters still do a bit of cardio and they'll benefit from a tiny bit of cross training. But if you're a strength trainer, you want to do strength, and if you're a cardio, like an endurance athlete, you want to do endurance and with a tiny bit of strength. You want to specialize because, you know, the benefits are there. But when it comes to losing fat, if you were going to ask someone, should you do strength training or should you do cardio? The answer is both. In lots of studies, the answer is both. You will get benefits from either. The cardio will improve your insulin sensitivity, the strength training will improve your muscle mass and protect your metabolic rate. So the answer is both, but at the end of the day, it still comes down to what you're eating, which is the primary driver of weight loss. People ask me about the calorie burn of different things. As I've just said, it's very complex in terms of your compensations, but you should think in terms of net calorie burn, so take away your resting metabolic rate. And just here are some numbers to give you an idea. Basically, the harder you're breathing, the harder you're pushing something, the more calories you're burning. So things where you can really push yourself, running, cycling, swimming, rowing, they're the ones that in the moment you burn the most calories. There is a bit of post-exercise calorie burn from things like weight training, CrossFit, whatever, but generally the harder you're blowing, the more calories you're burning. For you personally, the best cardio, I think cardio is a kind of behavioral challenge. So for me, it's just about simple pleasures. So if you really love to run, even though that's quite challenging, if you love it, you'll do that. Or you could do something really simple where you just get a treadmill in your house, and that's easy to do. But it's a behavioral challenge. You want to seek out things that you enjoy, because finding something that you enjoy is going to make it pleasurable in the long run. So start with something really simple and then work to something you enjoy and try and build that habit loop so it actually becomes a habit, it fits into your life. Now finally, cardio. I've talked about how it's not the most effective weight loss tool. And for a lot of people, that means that, you know, there's no point in doing cardio. And I see this in the fitness industry all the time. But to be honest, cardio is life. And there were some studies years ago when they were worried, there were quite a lot of heart attacks in the endurance world. And they were worried that maybe doing too much endurance can really affect your health. So they thought that they'd test and see if there was a point at which fitness, becoming fitter, reduced your life expectancy, cardiovascular fitness. And basically they tested it and they just couldn't find an endpoint to where getting fitter would, you know, stop making you live longer. So basically, the fitter you are, the longer you are likely to live. And the first hour of cardio you do each week is, you know, probably going to add years to your life in the long. It's almost time that you can't afford not to spend. It is so effective, it's ridiculous. For me, I know I have a lot of clients that are mostly into strength or mostly into a sport or this and that, but just that first hour, if they're doing something that makes them blow, something that makes them breathe heavy, just 1 hour a week, I think that gives you all, you know, a vast majority of the benefits for just that first hour of cardio a week. It's incredibly healthy. Cardio is a health tool. It's not a weight loss tool. It's so much easier to eat your weight off than it is to run it off. Use cardio for your health. Get that basic hour of cardio in a week for your health. If you want to use it as an adjustment for weight loss, all well and good. But, you know, cardio is a health tool. It's not a weight loss tool. It is wonderful for your health, and that is the reason why everybody should be doing it. In the next video, we will be talking about strength.